almost hostile. It was Axel Oxenstierna who insisted on keeping Gustav Adolf in Berlin. Just as it was he who insisted, oh sure politely, but he had about a dozen goons with him to enforce the matter, that I leave Berlin and come back here once I eliminated the risk of peritonitis. What reasons did he give for his decisions? Bullpucky and hogwash. And didn't know those particular Americanisms, but their general meaning was clear enough. The bullpucky was that it was too risky to move the king to Magdeburg. Nichols continued. That's nonsense because General Stearns had already transported Gustav Adolf by horse litter to get him to Berlin in the first place. That took almost a week in rough conditions, which the king still managed to survive, didn't he? As opposed to spending another 2 days moving him to Magdeburg in a luxurious river barge. The Black Doctor took a deep breath. An angry breath, you couldn't even say. As for the hogwash, it's true that I told Oxenstierna that there wasn't much that could be done for the king. But much isn't nothing. And however much or little can be done for Gustav Adolf in his present condition, you can be damn sure, to hell with false modesty, that I can do it better than that bunch of quacks he's got up there in Berlin. For Christ's sake, Colonel Hunt, one of them is an outright astrologer. The jackass seriously thinks you can make diagnoses and prescriptions based on whether Mars is humping Venus or getting buggered by Jupiter while either Sagittarius or Pisces is making a porno movie about it. Eric burst into laughter. He was not fond of astrologers himself. As one of Gustav Adolf's cousins, he had had close contact with many of Europe's courts. True, he was the son of an illegitimate cousin, but the fact of his royal blood counted for a lot more in such high circles than the picayune matter of his mother's bastardy. Europe's courts were full of bastards, literally as well as figuratively. Those same royal courts were also full of credulous people who gave their trust to the advice of astrologers and soothsayers. Not all of them were mere courtiers either. To name just one instance the colonel was personally familiar with, the new king of Bohemia was positively addicted to astrology. This despite the fact that in all other respects, Wallenstein was an extremely shrewd and intelligent man. Can you explain to me what's wrong with my cousin? Nichols grimaced. He suffered a bad head injury in that battle at Lake Bledno, and there was some brain damage done as a result. Whether it's permanent or not, we just don't know yet. And if it is permanent, or some of it at least, we don't know how much and in what areas. He shook his head. Even back up time, Colonel Hunt, brain injuries were often mysterious. Can you be more specific? Yes, in at least one respect. Whatever other damage may have been done, the Emperor clearly suffered damage to his right temporal lobe. Nichols reached up and touched his head just above his right ear, then moved the finger back and forth an inch or so. It's located here. And this means? The temporal lobes play a major role in the way our brains process language. Nichols cocked his head slightly. I take it you haven't seen your cousin yet? And shook his head. No, I decided to stop off here on my way to Berlin. I was stationed in the Oberpfalz, and Magdeburg was directly on my route. He hesitated, then added, I would appreciate it if you would not mention this visit to anyone, Dr. Nichols. Let us say that my assignment from the king, given to me before his injury, of course, is of a very confidential nature. Nichols studied him for a moment. The Moor's dark eyes seemed very shrewd, as Hand had feared they might be. He'd been hoping that Europe's greatest magician would be a naïf in all other matters. No great hope, though, given what he knew of the doctor's history. Suddenly, Nichols smiled. Do I take it that when you meet Chancellor Oxenstierna, you will be equally discreet, Colonel? Eric stiffened. Of course. It is well known among Sweden's highest circles. It is certainly known to Axel that I serve Gustav Adolf as his personal agent. My business is with the king and the king alone. That was true enough as far as it went, but Hunt was fairly certain that Nichols saw through the subterfuge involved. Hunt was now operating entirely on his own, a fact that he would try to conceal by referring to